This record is not tainted at all, period.
This is SportsCenter.
Barry Bonds indicted. Could he potentially face jail time? Our legal experts reveal the ramifications Bonds will be facing.
I think this smashes his legacy. I don't think this is something he ever recovers from.
Steve Phillips and Buster Olney reveal the impact on Bonds' place in history. Does this mean the end to his playing career?
You can forget about this one. Another home run for A-Rod.
And from one home run leader to potentially the next long ball king, Rodriguez gets 10 years, but find out what the Yankees want from him. Baseball's home run king, Barry Bonds, has been indicted. And with that, we say welcome to SportsCenter. With John Buccigross, I'm Scott Van Pelt.
That's right. Barry Bonds indicted today on perjury and obstruction of justice charges stemming from a federal probe that examined his alleged use of steroids. According to the 5-count indictment filed today in U.S. District Court in San Francisco, Barry Bonds lied to a federal grand jury in December 2003 when asked about his use of steroids. During that appearance, Bonds repeatedly denied that his trainer, Greg Anderson, provided him with performance-enhancing drugs like human growth hormone and the illegal products distributed by the notorious Bay Area Laboratory Cooperative, or BELCO. 4 counts of perjury, 1 count of obstruction of justice. Each count of perjury carries up to 5 years in prison, 3 years supervised release. Obstruction charge carries up to 10 years in prison and 3 years supervised release. Also a part of the federal indictment you can read on ESPN.com right now. During the criminal investigation, evidence was obtained, including positive tests for the presence of anabolic steroids and other performance-enhancing substances for Bonds and other athletes. We now hear from Barry Bonds' lead attorney, Michael Raines.
Until I can have more time to spend with Barry, to talk to him about what the indictment is and what it means, I simply don't want to offer anything more than a brief statement at this time. With that understanding, let me read to you and to the public this statement on behalf of my client, Barry Bonds. All you need to know about the government's case is that it leaked an official indictment to every media outlet in the nation and withheld it from Barry, his lawyer, and everyone else who could read it and who could defend him. Now that their biased allegations must finally be presented in open court, they won't be able to hide from their unethical misconduct any longer. You won't read about those facts in this indictment, but now the public is going to get the whole truth, not just selectively leaked fabrications from anonymous sources.
Here's Bud Selig's statement. I have yet to see the details of this indictment, although he and you can go on ESPN.com and read the thing in its entirety. And while everyone in America is considered innocent until proven guilty, I take this indictment very seriously and will follow its progress closely. Selig goes on to say, we currently have a testing program that is as good as any in professional sports, and the program is working. We continue to fund research to find an efficacious test for HGH and have banned amphetamines from our sport. Steve Levy now with more.
Kevin Ryan was the U.S. Attorney for Northern California prior to stepping down earlier this year, and he initiated the investigation of BELCO back in 2003. So, Kevin, first of all, thank you for taking the time and joining us. Let's get your initial reaction to the indictment of Barry Bonds.
Well, I have mixed reactions. I think it's a tragic day. I think it's a bad day for baseball. It's certainly not a good day for Mr. Bonds. I'm not surprised by the indictment. We actually began this investigation in September of 2002. So I was intimately involved in it for almost 5 years. And I think today is a culmination of a long process. The government obviously wanted to get it right. They were waiting to see if Mr. Anderson was going to be a willing participant or cooperator in the process. He wasn't. I think they've spoken today by saying they don't need him with this indictment. And I think the court process from here on out will be very interesting to a lot of people.
All right, two things there. You mentioned Greg Anderson and getting it right. Let's stay with getting it right for a second. With everything that you know, do you foresee any way Barry Bonds does not spend any time in prison?
Well, I think he needs to be convicted first. I think that, you know, he's presumed to be innocent. That's a presumption that goes away with the burden of proof being introduced by the government. I think the government has lined up the best case that it possibly could bring, and I think they're anxious to get into court and to finally prove this before a jury. If he is convicted, I think he stands a pretty good chance of going to jail.
All right, as for Greg Anderson, he's Barry Bonds' personal trainer. The timing is somewhat curious. Same day that Bonds is indicted, that Anderson is released from prison. You could see to some outsiders how that might seem as if, well, maybe Anderson decided to speak all of a sudden.
Well, I mean, we don't know yet. I understand that his attorney, Mr. Buccigross, I've been told this, I don't know for a fact, has indicated that Anderson did not talk to the grand jury. There's only one of two things that happened today. He talked to the grand jury, and he was released from the contempt citation, or he refused to talk, and the government still got an indictment and has said by this indictment that they don't need Mr. Anderson, notwithstanding the fact that he has probably relevant information. Don't forget, he can still be called to testify as a witness in front of the jury if this goes to trial, and if he refuses to testify then, he could also be put back in custody. So I think Mr. Anderson is not done with his involvement in this case.
Back to Barry, perjury is one of the most difficult things, I'm told, to actually prove. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, it is. It's a very difficult charge to prove because you really have to get into the mind of the individual whom you are questioning. The questions have to be clear and concise, and the respondent needs to answer the questions in a fashion that you conclude that they were material questions related to material facts and that they were in fact false. So never an easy case to prove. That's why you don't see many of them, but I think the government feels pretty confident today and at least wants to take it to a jury of 12 people.
Long, drawn-out process likely ahead. How long and drawn out would you forecast?
Well, my opinion is not going to be that long drawn out. I think that the government certainly, in my opinion, could go to trial tomorrow. They're ready. They know what their case is. They know who their witnesses are, and they know what the evidence is. It will all depend upon whether Mr. Bonds and his attorney want a speedy trial. If they do, this thing could go to trial within 60 days. If they don't, they could draw it out maybe for 6 months, maybe a year. But my understanding is this went to Judge Alsop's court. I'm not sure if that's true, but if it is true, he moves these cases along. He's very tight on the management of his calendar. I know the government's anxious to get this in trial, and from what I can understand, the defense attorney also wants to get this to trial. So I would expect a relatively quick turnaround and not a lot of stalling.
Kevin, lastly on this, since you started this some 4 or 5 years ago, any personal satisfaction for what took place on Thursday?
I'm not happy by any stretch of the imagination that this has happened. I do think the system has worked. I do think if we don't hold accountable those people who are given an opportunity to testify truthfully before our juries or our grand juries and they choose not to do that, there has to be an accounting for that. It goes to the core of our criminal justice system. And so in that vein, the system has worked. I take no glee in Mr. Bonds' indictment today, and I don't think it's good for America. I don't think it's good for him, and it just is. And we'll see what happens.
Former U.S. Attorney Kevin Ryan, we appreciate you taking some time for us here at ESPN.
All right, thank you.
You heard Kevin Ryan mention Mark Buccigross, Greg Anderson's attorney. Here's what Buccigross said today. This indictment came out of left field. Bond's position. Frankly, I'm aghast. It looks like the government misled me and Greg as well, saying this case couldn't go forward without him. Buccigross went on to say, and again, you heard Ryan mention, Anderson has not and will not cooperate in this case. Scott.
Joined by a very busy man of late, ESPN legal analyst Roger Cossack. And Roger, there are many layers to this. I suppose the biggest question that sports fans have is, what does this mean for Barry Bonds?
Well, these are really serious charges, Scott. I mean, he's being charged with perjury and obstruction of justice. He was given immunity at the time he testified before the grand jury. They told him, anything you tell us will not be used against you. If you admit to using steroids, we won't indict you for using steroids. The only thing you don't get immunity for, of course, is if you lie to us, so don't lie to us. And now they're saying that's exactly what he did, is he lied to them, and that ends up as perjury and obstruction of justice, and those are serious charges. I mean, if you get convicted of those, if he gets convicted of those, he doesn't have a prior criminal record, he's certainly not going to get the 30 years that have been being tossed around, but it's very real to believe that he might spend some time in jail.
Roger, you're talking to an audience of sports fans, not necessarily those that understand legalese, but when a federal indictment is brought against someone, how often does that end up in jail time of some sort?
Well, it depends, of course, on what the crime is. You know, some crimes are penalized much harsher than others, and that's what I want to indicate, that in this case, perjury and obstruction of justice goes to the very foundation of the criminal justice system. So judges take, you know, a very dim view of those who commit it. On the other hand, look, Bonds hasn't been in trouble. He's not a criminal. They didn't indict him on money laundering. They didn't indict him on tax evasion, two things that we heard tossed around also. This is lying before the grand jury. It's a serious charge, but whether or not it merits a long term in prison or any term in prison is something a judge is going to have to decide.
Given the enormous investment of both time and money in this case against everyone, and ultimately some would say against Barry Bonds, was there any other end game in your mind other than an indictment against Bonds?
You know, I felt, to be honest with you, that too much time had gone by, and I thought that Bonds was not going to get indicted. I'm one of those guys that was surprised by this event taking place. The tip to me was, and I probably should have paid more attention to it, was when Marion Jones suddenly out of nowhere is pleading guilty and is apologizing. I mean, I realized at that time, in fact, I think even said on our air that indicates one thing, that the Balco investigation is still alive. And that probably should have been a tip that perhaps, or that something was coming down the road in Bonds, but I must say I was taken by surprise.
ESPN legal analyst Roger Cossack, thank you as always for your perspective.
Okay.
President Bush's reaction now through his deputy press secretary. The president is very disappointed to hear this. As this case is now in the criminal justice system, we will refrain from any further specific comments about it. But clearly, this is a sad day for baseball.
Folks in Eugene hoping it wouldn't be a sad night for them. Their Heisman hopeful Dennis Dixon and the #2 team in the BCS visiting the desert, and #2 has been a very, very tricky spot this year in college football. Dixon showing why he is just lethal. 4th and 3, the spread offense that is the bane of defensive coordinators' existence across the land. You put it in the running back's gut. Spencer Larson's got contained. He loses it, and frankly, this looks like a grown man with boys. Oregon goes for 2, touchdown. They're up 8, and then here, a chance to really make a statement early, but the ball gets tipped. Derek Jones can't haul it in. Nate Ness does, and he runs it out there to about the 45. This would be a turning point in the ball game for sure. There'd be another coming soon with Dixon. A touchdown for Arizona made it 8-7, and then right there, you see Dixon goes down untouched. The left knee is wearing a cumbersome brace that he injured earlier this season. Diagnosed with a twist left knee, does not come back. Then it's Brady Leaf. His brother, of course, was Ryan Leaf, and Leaf's in, and well, it's probably a bad joke to make it his brother's expense, but this is still a young guy in college, so we should leave it alone. And that's Antoine Cason, who's one of the best defensive backs in the country. He is on the short list for a bunch of awards, and he showed you why right there, putting Arizona up 17-11, and then it's Cason again. And show him their taillights. He gets to the wall, picks up some blocks, and that's the punter. And no disrespect, there ain't no punter that's bringing down this guy. Arizona brings back a touchdown, a punt for touchdown, and a pick for touchdown. That guy right there, #5. 4th quarter, it's 31-17. Jonathan Stewart. This guy's been so good for them throughout the year. He would limp off the field injured. They bring in Andre Crenshaw to cap off a 17-play drive and give Leaf and the Ducks credit. They could have crumbled. They don't. They fight back the way a top-ranked team should. They're within a 7 spot of the lead. It's 4th and 1 after the referees missed a blatant face mask. Arizona, the running back, has stopped at first, but Nick Frisbee's great second effort moves the chains. Mike Bellotti knows we got to make something big happen. The next play, fumble. Tuatama goes down. Grigsby fumbles. And at first glance, I thought maybe his knee is down, and in college, that means he's down. And you see that the knee is down. Play reversed. Bellotti and Oregon know, oh, goodness. And that idiot right there is excited. He has big red fists, and he's going to go out and get hammered. If Jason Bonzio makes the field goal, makes it a 10-point game, and he does. 46-yarder. That is clutch right there. There's Dixon now wearing the hat, and the shoulder pads are going, and maybe a premature celebration for the folks in Tucson. Bear down for Arizona, bear down for red and blue, but let's wait a few minutes before we storm the field. Still 2 minutes to go. Remember Ness, who had a pickoff earlier? Ness has done it again, and what a grab that is. And for the 4th straight November, Arizona's going to knock off a ranked team. Look at that.
With bare feet out there.
Hey, it's Tucson, man. It's good weather. They got no nor'easters there. There's no snow in their forecast. And Bellotti and Stoops shake hands. Bob out in Oklahoma says thanks to his brother who might help him. They're bringing down the goalpost. We send it back out to the men who called this entertaining game. Actually, I beg your pardon. First, a little too excited.
Number 2.
We have so many number 2s that have lost. The 5th number 2 team to lose this season. So the memo to all those teams out there, Kansas and all you don't want to be 2. Because if you're 2, like USC, Cal, South Florida, and Boston College, you go down and you go down in a lump. So for Oregon, as I say, the dream dies in the desert, and Chris Fowler and company called the ball game.
This is a different sort of desert swarm, not the defense that once patrolled Tucson, but the red-clad fans celebrating an upset over number 2 Oregon here in Tucson, as Arizona makes it 3 straight wins after a dismal 2-6 start to the season. A history, guys, of November upsets of highly ranked teams. This one tonight made much easier by the unfortunate loss of the Heisman frontrunner coming in, Dennis Dixon.
Well, you know what? This game started out with what we thought would happen. Dixon scores on a long touchdown run. They get the ball back. They go down. They're in the red zone. He throws an interception that deflects right off a receiver's hands. And that was critical because it was about to be 15-0 in the first quarter early on. And after Dixon went down, though, all bets were off. This was a different football team. They really lost all of their emotions. It was just gone on the football team.
Yeah. And Arizona was very opportunistic. I mean, they took the ball. It could have been 15-0 off a chest, return it 50, 60 yards, stick that one in the end zone, return a punt. Antoine Cason, those 2 big plays, as well as a bunch of others on defensive plays, knocking the ball down. And only a field goal in the second half.
Yeah.
But they knew Oregon wasn't going to move the ball the rest of the game.
Now, the Ducks had 6 turnovers in a home loss to Arizona last year, 4 here tonight, plus giving up that punt return Doug talked about to Cason. Mike Bellotti after the game with Aaron Andrews.
Well, Mike, he said to us there was so much excitement this week with the new ranking, the number 2 ranking. How will this loss affect your team?
There wasn't that much excitement. Our kids handled it very well. It wasn't the ranking that got us. It was our inability to handle the football. We gave up 3 touchdowns, 1 on offense, 1 on defense, 1 on special teams, and we get a fumble down here or should have had an interception. I mean, we should have had a touchdown, got an interception. We just didn't play very well. Losing Dennis is certainly a huge factor, but that's no excuse. We need to get better. We got a lot of season left. We have 2 games to compete for the conference championship.
I know you said losing Dennis isn't an excuse. He goes down with the injury. I was on your sidelines. It just fell silent. I mean, what does that say? How much does this guy mean to your team?
Well, he's a great football player, and he's done a great job this year, not just being a football player in his own right, but being a leader of our team. And so when a guy like that goes down, that's very difficult. I was really pleased, actually, the way our defense rallied in the second half. I don't know what they got. They got the 1 field goal or something more. I don't know. But overall, I thought we came back well. We could have hung our heads and just really stunk it up. We didn't, but again, we didn't do well enough to win.
A lot of fans here tonight hoping to see you win 3 straight in chance of possibly playing for a national championship. I mean, what do you say to them?
I say I appreciate them being here and just hang on. Now we got to compete for the conference championship. It's not quite as good, but still what we have available to us.
Mike, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Aaron, the Ducks lose control of their destiny actually in the Pac-10 Rose Bowl race. Arizona State hosting USC a week from tonight in Tempe. That's a critical game in the conference. Meanwhile, guys, all those teams that were just behind Oregon in the BCS standings, there's big parties in places like, Lawrence and Norman and Columbia and Morgantown and Columbus, all those places.
You got a lot of schools. Now, they got to take care of business. I mean, this is a crazy football season. We've seen a lot of teams lose. West Virginia example, this weekend playing at Cincinnati, they have got to take care of business, or this opportunity that was given to them by Arizona tonight is for naught.
But I think they all take that feeling of we can sort of control our own destiny. We've got a legitimate shot now. The only team, Kansas, if they run the table, obviously I believe they should be number 1 if they beat Missouri, beat Oklahoma.
Okay.
But they're the only one with the case that can say we're undefeated. We're going. I don't know how you differentiate all those 1-loss teams.
Meanwhile, for Arizona, tremendous upset here tonight. They're now 1 win away from bowl eligibility. They have to wait 16 days to play the Sun Devils. There are rivals up in Tempe. But Antoine Cason, one of the heroes tonight, one of 19 Arizona seniors honored before the game, and he's with Aaron now after his monster performance.
All right, well, first of all, I have to ask you, what does a win like this mean to you tonight on senior night?
Oh, it means a lot. Came out here for 4 years and just worked as hard as I could to to better myself, my teammates, and everyone in Tucson. You know, the community has been behind us, so it means a lot for us to come out here and get a home win on senior night.
Obviously, the big story of the night, Dennis Dixon going down. What was the plan for the defense in attacking Brady Leaf and the offense the rest of the way?
Oh, it was tough when he went down for them. He's a good player, and it would have been a long night with him playing. But when Leaf came in the game, we knew he wasn't too much. He wasn't a run threat like Dixon was, and we knew to get after him and just cause turnovers.
We heard great stories, and we told them tonight about your dad and how tough he is on you. 2 touchdowns for you tonight. I mean, what are you going to say to Pops now when you see him?
I'm just going to smile, laugh, and see what he has to say. But it feels great to come out on senior night and do that. And, you know, he's going to be proud. My mom's here. She's going to be proud. And it's a great feeling.
Come on, give us a preview. What do you think Dad's going to say?
Oh, Dad is he's going to be pumping his fist because this is alma mater. And he's been on me all week about go get him because, you know, they didn't talk to me or anything. But, you know, he's going to be so excited. I'm not going to hear the end of this.
And finally, how long will it take for him to break down film for next week?
Oh, he's going to break down tomorrow. He's going to be at my house, and I have a film of next week, and he's going to already be breaking it down with me. So it's a great thing.
Congratulations. Go enjoy the win.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Enjoy it if you don't let your dad spoil the enjoyment. 16 days till the game, Pops. Let him enjoy this one.
Bring some lunch over, too, while we watch the film. But, you know, this is a great opportunity for this Arizona football team to have 16 days off. I treat it like a bowl game. You know, they're playing for a bowl game, but I would take it 16 days, enjoy it, build upon what they did here, beating the #2 team in the country, enjoy the limelight, but get ready for Arizona State. Win that 6th game. If they go 6-6 this year, they'll be in a bowl.
Very important examination would imagine would take place on that left knee of Dennis Dixon. He was walking around, spent the second half on his feet. I'm not sure if that's a good sign or not. They have a game with UCLA next week and then the game with Oregon State. But
here's the play he got injured on, and he tweaked it again, and you've got to feel for him because he had this team in a position to make a run for a national championship. He had an opportunity to win the Heisman. He started the game tonight on a national platform, taking off on a long run, making it happen, looking like he's going to have a great night. And to have it end the way it did, very frustrating.
We just hope that's not the last time you'll see Dennis Dixon in a Duck uniform. He's a senior. If he can't go, if the knee is injured severely enough, and doctors feel like he shouldn't play, perhaps back for a bowl game, but that was scary, the way he kind of crumpled without any contact.
Yeah, it's one of those deals to where, you know, he's going to, for the rest of this season, including the bowl season, he's going to have to deal with it. If he even comes back, he's still going to have it. It's not going to go away overnight.
If he plays, he's not going to be the same guy. He's going to be a little more cautious. Tonight he thought probably, I'm going full tilt. Let's see what happens. I'm going to let it rip, and it just didn't hold up.
The Ducks' national title hopes have gone away, as Bellotti said, still in the running for the Rose Bowl, but they've lost control of their destiny. And they're about to lose control here in Tucson as the happy Wildcats fans watch their team pull off another November upset. Let's head back to the studio.
Ben, thanks very much. Here's some things to keep in mind as you look at this. LSU at Mississippi, then they still have Arkansas in an SEC title game. Oregon has lost. And Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, there'll be basically a round robin. Kansas plays Missouri. The winner of that theoretically will play Oklahoma, which means each team that you see could theoretically have a loss, which means West Virginia, Ohio State, all those teams are still in play in a season where we have seen so many losses and so many inexplicable things. Sure, teams have their destiny in their hands, but they also could find themselves on the outside looking in the flip of a switch.
Just like that. All right, more to come on this SportsCenter. So is today's indictment about illegal steroids or more about lying? Straight ahead, what the government believes Barry Bonds did and did not do. And while the legacy of the reigning home run king remains in doubt, in the Bronx, how does the return of Alex Rodriguez change the Yankees' offseason plans? SportsCenter back after this.
You guys gotta see this.
On November 21st.
You gotta check this out. Guys, wait!
Comes the one movie.
No reels heard this. What's it?
That will leave you breathless.
Who knows how far this mist will spread?
Could be the whole world. Stephen King's The Mist, directed by Frank Darabont, rated R.
They don't grow on trees or fall from the sky. And no one's giving them away. No, to get one of these, you have to earn it. By being tested, measured, scrutinized, and unanimously chosen above all competitors. The 7-passenger Mazda CX-9, Motor Trend's 2008 Sport Utility of the Year. Designed and engineered the Zoom Zoom way.
Smiles, everyone! Smile! Everyone's smiling because Shrek the Third is the #1 DVD in America. It's the biggest comedy hit of the year.
Well, I love thirds. 3 is the magic number.
Shrek the Third. Add the best Shrek yet to your DVD and HD DVD collection today.
SportsCenter, brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer.
A 4-year investigation into steroid use by elite athletes has netted what many felt was its main target, an indictment against Barry Bonds. He could go to prison for telling a federal grand jury that he did not knowingly use performance-enhancing drugs. That led to a charge of perjury, 4 counts of them, in fact, 1 count of obstruction of justice. Each count of perjury carries up to 5 years in prison, 3 years supervised release. The obstruction charge carries up to 10 years in prison and 3 years of supervised release. John Anderson has more.
And now it is time for Mark Ferrawada to join the conversation. He was co-author of the book Game of Shadows, now a member of the ESPN investigative reporting team. Mark, steroids is obviously at the heart of this thing, but when the indictment comes down and it's about perjury, this is, in essence, then becomes a lying thing. If you could sort of marry those two up for Bonds and what's in the indictment about what he might not have been truthful about and that's got him in trouble here.
Well, the government's allegations are rooted in 4 charges, basically. There's 4 cases in which they allege that Bonds perjured himself. 1 case of obstruction of justice, which essentially is rooted in the 4 alleged lies. They essentially talk about his denial of knowingly using steroids, his denial of using steroids, and then the 2 other sort of significant pieces are Bonds denies his ever injecting the drugs or being injected by Anderson. The government believes that's a lie.